Vanda, Vanda bhi Bhante.
Yeah.
So we'll ask for Ajivattamakshil.
Yes.
Before that, sharing merits and forgiveness.
Yeah.
Mayang Kattang Puya Samina Anumodi Tappam.
Sadhu sadhanu modami.
Samina Katang Puyang Mayada Tappam. Sadhu Sadhu
Sadhanu.
Sadhu. Okas Vandami Bhante.
Sukhi.
Bharatayena Maya Katang. Sab Achayang Kamatame Bhante. Dutiyamti Okas Vandami Bhante. Bharatayena Maya Katang Sab Achayang Kame Bhante. Tatyamti Okas Vandami Bhante. Bharatayena Maya Katang Sab Achayang Kamatame Bhante. Asking for Ajivatta Magashil.
Yeah.
Okas Aham Bhante. Te Saranena Sati Ajivattamaggashilang Dhammang Yachami Anugaham Katva Shilang Detame Bhante Dutiyamti Okas Aham Bhante Te Saranena Sa Ajivattamaggashilang Dhammang Yachami Anugaham Katva Shilang Detame Bhante Tatyamti Okas Aham Bhante Te Saranena Sa Ajivattamaggashilang Dhammang Yachami Anugam Katva Shilang Detame Bhante Anukampang Upadaya
Yamahang vadami tvang vadeta.
Am Bhante
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arhato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arhato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arhato Samma Sambuddhassa
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang Saranang Gacchami
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang Saranang Gacchami
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang Saranang Gacchami
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami
Saranagamanang sampunang.
Bhante
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Pranatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinnadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Kame sumichachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kameshu Michachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Sorry Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Pisuna vacha veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Vishunavacha Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Parusa vacha veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Parusavacha Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Sampappalapa veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Sampappalapa Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Micha ajiva veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Micha Ajiva Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Tisaranena saddhing ajivatamaka silang dhammang sadhukang surakkitang katva apamaden sampadhi tabbang.
Bhante Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu
Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear listeners, subject to the discourse today, Citta-Viveka. Today we are going to explain what is actually the Citta-Viveka is. The relaxation of our mind. There are so many ways to relax our mind. Sometimes the ordinary people used to listen music, watch movies, and talk with somebody else, and do so many things to relax their mind. But some others, the people are wise more than the ordinary people, they used to meditate. Meditate means some people use samatha bhavana, that means samadhi bhavana, take one kind of meditative object and contemplate his own mind again and again on that meditation object. That is just one method. But what Lord Buddha actually proclaimed to make our mind relax is vipassana. Vipassana means especially watching, especially the usual meaning is especially watching. As an example, our life is like an robot who has artificial intelligence. I will tell you a small example. If you want to make a robot, first of all, you might insert him a camera, microphone, some sensors, and etc. And if you turn on that robot, only with connecting those things, we can't get a work with him. After that, we have to upgrade his programming to choose one cognition at a one time. One cognition at one time. So I tell you, our life is a series of cognitions. Cognitions to eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. But with each and every cognition, we get the idea about world and me. So once you turn on that robot, now you upgrade his program to take one cognition at a one time. Afterwards, also that is he's just taking the cognitions, inputs, but nothing is processing. So we have to program him to the world, to the works. What is the main program is avijja, ignorance. How can we program somebody, some robot, to a work? That is, we upgrade his program like after each and every cognition, take an idea, the external thing, and the person who is experiencing. We program him to divided duality after each and every cognition. That is the point when all the problems arises. That is the point. Every rules, regulations started. That is the point. There is a robot, there is a world. Before that, there is no world to him, no problems to him, no works to him. But after this programming, as world and me, or the outside and the inside, all problems starting. So I'll tell you, there are two categories what we are experiencing. Some things we know, our mind knows, and some experiences our mind don't know. When you listen to my voice, sometimes you may ignore, or you may didn't you may not catch some words, and again your attention comes to my talk. When you are feeling something like that, you might think there was an real sound was there, but I forgot it. The sound is there, but I forgot that sound. You might think like that. But actually, that is just a conceiving of your mind. Because why? Everything means eye visuals, ear sounds, nose smells, tongue tastes, body tangibles, and mind and thoughts, nothing else. So when again and again, if we think, if we conceive about a sound what I have forgot, that is just a thought. There is a nice story in Lord Buddha's time. Some scholars in India were asked, Lord Gautama, is there a world? Lord Buddha said, the question is wrong, don't ask it. Again they asked, isn't there a world? Lord Buddha again told, the question is wrong, don't ask it. Then again they asked, either world exists or none exist. Lord Buddha again is told, the question is wrong, don't ask it again. And again they asked, neither world existing, nor unexisting. Again Lord Buddha has proclaimed, the question is wrong, don't ask. But why? You can understand it with that comparison of the robot. If a robot tells there's a world, it also just a data, but arises in his own mechanism. And if he tells there's no world, it also just a thought, just a data, what arises in his mind, in his mechanism. Even if he tells either world exists, no or unexist, or neither world exists, no unexist, it's also just a thought, but arises in his own mechanism. So that is what Lord Buddha again and again teach us. That is how we programmed. With each and every experience, we're taking an idea, there's a real thing and the real me who is experiencing. That is the starting point of avijja, the ignorance. So, we need to go further. One day, another robot comes to that robot and tells, hey, robot, you are a machine. You must understand it. But that robot that robot will say, I don't know what you are telling. I can't understand you. That is how Lord Buddha tells us, there is no soul, there is no self. We are selfless. We are just preparating. We are like a machine, but we can't understand it. So that robot will again ask, it's okay, you can't understand, but I will give you an exercise. Afterwards, you can report me if I am correct or wrong. Then the other robot will accept. Other robot is accepted. So afterwards, the first exercise was, be aware to your body, to your postures. Always look at your body as a third person. Be a watcher. Be a person who is observing someone else. Our mind always, second by second, goes to the outer world, but we are going to collect it again and again to our body by being a witness to our body. So once that robot be a watcher, be an observer to his own machine, he will understand this machine is not I am, this is just a machine. When the thought arises, it works like a machine. According to human, with the nerves, with the muscles, our body works. So after that, this robot will say to that wise robot, I understood. My body is a mechanism. It is not I am. So then the other one will tell, okay, you are correct. I will upgrade you into the next exercise. That is Vedananupasana. Be a watcher, be aware to your sensations also. Once we become aware to our sensations, we will find some sensations start and go to the peak. And again, the sensation will reduce. Oh, always there are up and downs in your pleasant and unpleasant sensations. Before that, we always cling it as I am experiencing. But now we are going to be a watcher, just an observer to your sensation, your feelings, maybe pleasant or unpleasant. Now we are going to mature about your sensations. Before that, when some kind of sensation arises, you took it seriously, and you feel it is going to stay forever. When some unpleasant feeling, sensation arises, we are thinking it will go on forever. That is why we are again and again being sad, being stressed. But when we start to be a witness to our sensations, we are going to understand, we are going to be mature enough. When some kind of sensation arises in ourselves, we will not take it seriously. We always have a wisdom. This will reduce, this will change. This is just a mechanism. When a kind of object arises, the sensation arises as its effect. So once the cause is ceasing, the sensation also will cease. So nothing is there to worry. Once you understand that, again that robot goes to the wise robot and tell, so now I am Now I understood. The sensations are not I am and not myself. So he upgrades him into the third exercise. That is Chittanupassana. Now you are going to be aware, be a watcher, be an observer to your thoughts, your commands. Robot might have commands to do this work, do this calculation, do this kind of cleanings, or etc. Now, he's going to be a watcher to them. As an example, once you're in a platform, in a road, the vehicles are moving, but you're not going to touch the vehicles. You're not going to go to the middle of the road. You're not going to stop the vehicles. You're not going to judge them. You just observe that one by one, thoughts will pass. You're only just an observer, just looking at it. Always as a third person. While being a watcher, being an observer to your thoughts, your mind will become calm again and again. The gaps will increase. You will feel some gaps without any thought. Once your awareness is 10%, your thoughts will be 90%. Once your awareness is 99%, your thoughts will be 1%. So again and again, he will understand when some objects arise as a cause, then the thoughts will arise as an effect. It is just a mechanism. As an example, you might think about something at the night, but the next morning, you don't have any idea about that. You don't need that desire. You don't have that craving at the morning. Because why? The thoughts are not self. It's anatta. Not under your control. It is just a mechanism. As an example, in your way, when someone feels love, it's also just because of a hormone. If someone feels lust, it's also because of a hormone. It arises and it increase, decrease, and everything. Lord Buddha also tells those all thoughts and feelings, emotions are not self. There is no controller. There is no one going to control it. It's just a mechanism. That's why he used the word sankhara. These all are preparations. Those all are preparations. So, after your mind becomes calm, without thoughts, he go to the wise Robo and again tell, I understood. My thoughts, my commands are not I am. Now I'm not going to judge them. Now I'm not going to obey them. I'm just an observer. I'm stilled now. So the wise person again asks to the robot, okay, now I will upgrade you into the fourth step, that is Dhammanupassana. As in summary, Dhammanupassana means we are contemplating on moods and emotions, the subtle mental states. Like sometimes we are feeling some kind of sadness without any reason. Sometimes we feel kind of an joy without any reason. Sometimes we are feeling a miserable emotion without any reason. Those feelings and emotions, those emotions and moods those also we are taking as ourselves, as I am. I am the one who is experiencing this. But Lord Buddha proclaimed, those are not you, not yourself. It's also just a mechanism. It's also just a process. That's why I told you, our body and our mind is also like a robot. A robot has who has artificial intelligence. He can think, he can work, but there is no soul. There is no self. He just have a he just have just an artificial intelligence, which is a program. It will randomly select this and this, and he already programmed to react like this after this kind of an object, and so on. So now he's going to be an observer to his moods and emotions also. Once he has become an observer again and again, his mind become more calm. Maybe he maybe feel laziness. He might feel kind of joy. He might feel some kind of miserable feeling, emotion. But for each and everything, he's just an observer. He's not going to catch them that I am experiencing it. He's just watching it as a third person. However, by being a watcher, an observer to his own moods and emotions, his subtle mental states, his mind going to be tranquilized. The tranquilization also just a mood. The real wise person is not going to catch it as the tranquilized mind, and I am who is experiencing that tranquility. It's also a ignorance. It's also a part of the program. He's just an observer to his tranquilized mind, not a person who is experiencing. So once he become an observer to his tranquilized mind, his mind might become empty. He might feel kind of a emptiness, some kind of a vipassana samadhi. For that vipassana samadhi also, he can just, if he took that vipassana samadhi as I am who is experiencing, the cognition will comes. After that, your programming will think, I'm the one who is experiencing the emptiness. But it's also just a ignorance. He just be aware to that emptiness also. So once he become an observer to that emptiness, he will come to his home. That is Sabba Sankhara Samatha. Stilling of all preparations. What are the preparations? The Sabba Sankhara Samatha is an explanation to the Nibbana. That means stilling of all preparations. What are the preparations? Physical preparations, verbal preparations, and the mental preparations. Kaya Sankhara, Vachi Sankhara, Chitta Sankhara. The physical activities, even inhale and exhale, the verbal preparations, even vitaka vichara, mental preparations, even perceptions and sensations must be tranquilized as a person who is going to experience the Nibbana. Once we experience an emptiness, there is also a perception that my mind is empty and that I am feeling kind of a nice sensation. My mind is empty, or I'm feeling kind of this kind of a sensation. It's also wrong. You might heard a word called anidasana vijnana. That means non-manifestive cognition, non-manifestive consciousness. Once someone attained the arahantship, his cognitions, his consciousness becomes non-manifestive. That means the usual cognitions, usual consciousness always shows a duality as the thing and the person who is experiencing. The thing which is experiencing and the person who is experiencing. Always manifest a duality after each and every cognition. But someone attained the Nibbana, or someone living with the wisdom, or a person manifesting non-reflective, his cognition is not showing a duality, because our life is like a river. We can't experience in the same water at least 1 second. It's always passing. If we manifest, if we point out that my mind is empty, that means just a preparation, not your experience. If somebody is still, my mind is empty, or if someone can experience, someone can cognize, my mind is empty, or my mind is tranquilized, that means he's using another preparation to perceive it. But Nibbana is the stilling of all kind of preparations, even perceptions and sensations. So once we become an observer to our subtle mental states, at least even tranquilized mind and emptiness, now we are going to have an non-manifestive vijnana, non-manifestive cognition, consciousness, which is not going to manifest a duality as world and me. Because now he only experiencing the stilling of all preparations. Now he's only experiencing the Nibbana, the fully stilled mind. At least there is no a perception that my mind is stopped, my mind is stilled, even no preparation, no perception. Just he understand, just he experience the stilling of the mind. But how? After being an observer to his own subtle mental states, he only left to be an observer to the observing. When the observer only left just the observing, they meet face to face. then a miracle going to happen. That is, he will understand. Observer also, just an observing. Observer also, just a mechanism. Weakness also, just a mechanism. So his mind going to calm down completely. Because once the robot turn on, then he have all kind of problems. Once he turn off, there is no problem at all. That's why Lord Buddha proclaimed the noble truth of our whole life and the samsara is the stress, is the suffering. Because why? If we think, if we contemplate on a manner of a robot or a machine, the noble truth of a machine is a stress. Why? Machine was not at the past. It was not a thing which is going to exist in the future. But we assembled it, we prepared it, and we turned on. Then all kinds of problems arise according to a machine. But the machine has a stress. That is the noble truth of a machine. That's why sometimes our machines become overheated. Sometimes there's error codes like oops and etc. Because why? The noble truth of a machine also, just a stress. The cause of stress, there's a craving, there's a motivation for a machine also being turned on and work. If there's no any motivation, there is no idea to being turned on, there is nothing to work or nothing to do with the machine. So that is what Lord Buddha also explained to us. Finally, the dukkha satya, the truth of suffering, is preparations. We must have to understand one day, one person asked from another monk, why are you become a monk in the Buddha's dispensation? So that monk replied, I became a monk to comprehend the suffering. I became a monk to comprehend the suffering. That was his answer. Actually, if someone wants to overcome from the suffering, he must have to understand the suffering. Which is suffering? Which are suffering? All preparations are suffering. All physical works are stressed, are suffering. All verbal works, preparations are suffering. All mental works are suffering. As an example, once you sit your meditation, you might have some thoughts to stand up and do this work and that and come again. Once you do that work, you only left tiredness, nothing else. Your mind will tell you, do this work, that vacation, that trip, that pilgrimage, etc. But finally, you will left just a tiredness. Just a tired will remain. Lord Buddha completely proclaims all kind of physical preparations are suffering. And the verbal preparations too. Once you are in the meditation, you might think that I must talk with him, I must tell this thing to that person, and I will come to the meditation. I must answer. But after you juggling with somebody, talking with somebody, you only left just a tiredness. Your words have no value. Your words not going to change anything. You only feel the tiredness because of talking, because of verbal preparations. That is why Lord Buddha proclaimed Sabbe Sankhara Dukkhati. All preparations are suffering. So the mental preparations also. What are the mental preparations? Those are perceptions and sensations. Once in the meditation, you might have an idea. I must listen to that sound. I must perceive who is speaking. I must sensating this tangible or something else. We have an idea that perceptions and sensations are going to make me happy. But finally, you have remained just a tiredness. You will perceive that sound, that tangible, that smell. Finally, there is a stress. Finally, there is a tiredness. Nothing is going to change anything. So that's why, step by step, Lord Buddha going to reprogram us. Once the robot deprogrammed completely, even somebody comes to kill him with a weapon, he will not react because he's just a watcher to his commands, his sensations, his body, his subtle mental states, moods, and each and everything. He's completely reprogrammed. We also like that. So the cause of suffering is the craving, is the motivation. We have a craving, we have a motivation to the preparations. We have a craving, a motivation to the physical preparations, the verbal works, to the mental works. Like we have a craving, we have a motivation to pursue each and that and that. We have a craving to pursue it, but it only causes you suffering, nothing else. But with the completely fading away of that craving, of that motivation, there is Sabba Sankhara Samatha. He will understand etang santang, etang panitang, yadidang, Sabba Sankhara Samatho. This is peaceful, this is excellent. Namely, the stilling of all preparations. He will not waste any preparation, his time to any preparation, because he already comprehended all kind of preparations are suffering. Just wasting of time. He step by step become introverted. He always just a watcher to his own mind. That is called the real Citta-Viveka. Always his mind, his all works are calm. Anyone, anything can't make him arrogant. Anything can't make him tired. He always the extreme joy. He always completely live in the present moment. We always postpone the living because we have an idea the next second will be better than this second. So we always sacrifice at this moment, this cognition to achieve a kind of better cognition at the future. But it will not going to happen. You might postpone your living until your death. At the death point, at the deathbed, you will think, oh God, I'm going to die. No time to postpone the living again. Once you, as a child, you will think, I will live after pass the exam. I will live after go to the university. You sacrifice your this moment and you postpone your living. Living means stop your preparations and just be aware to your cognitions. The perceptions, sensations also, a preparation. Those also waste your time, waste your life. That is why I told you that the comparison of a river, the same water we can't experience at least one time. It's always passing. We just have to be a watcher to one point. If we go to the past, we can point out it, we can name it. But if we completely in the present moment, we just can watch, view only. So that is what the real Citta-Viveka. The samatha meditations must have a force to find the Viveka, the relaxation. But the real Vipassana is calm with the beginning. If we're going to force our mind, if we're going to relax our mind forcefully, it will take a long time. But if we going to relax our mind with the wisdom while being an observer, it will be relaxed very soon. Because the regret, the guilty feelings also, just a nivarana, just a hindrance to the nibbana. Buddhism is out of the all boxes. We start with the good and bad. But when we go further on, all boxes are removed. There is no any kind of, there is no any kind of box to thinking. If we talk about kusala and akusala, and punya and papa, punya and papa mean Lord Buddha has proclaimed chittam punya titi punyang, hadayam punya titi punyang. When we do something, if we can feel kind of a happiness, a joy in our heart, or in our mind, it is a punya. If our heart and mind become unclean, that is a papa. But the kusala and akusala is different. Kusala means merit. Akusala means demerit. Kusala means merit means our strengths, our capability. For what? Kusala means the capability of being deprogrammed. Akusala means being programmed. If I give you a small example, if you give a small explanation, you can remember it, kusala and akusala, as being programmed and being deprogrammed. The peak of the program is lust, is hatred, is proud. But the merit, the way of deprogram is no lust, no craving, no hatred, no proud at all. So that is what kusala and akusala. The meditative man going to comprehend again and again all kinds of preparations are suffering, and the relinquishment of the complete fading away of that motivation, the craving to the preparations is peaceful, is excellent. That is called Nibbana. The way to achieve it is a noble eightfold path. First, you should listen the noble Dhamma from a person who experienced it. Then you have to maintain your thoughts according to it. Afterwards, you have to make your words, speeches clear, and your bodily works clear, and you have to make your good livelihood. As a person who is good in the normal manner, he can do an effort to being deprogrammed without being programmed. Program and deprogram means? Program means taking a world and a person who is experiencing. Deprogram means the stilling of all preparations, the fully stilled mind. At least no even perception or sensation. So we do an effort to be aware, to be mindful to our body, sensations, thoughts, and subtle mental states. But finally, that forceful, that effortful mindfulness becomes a concentration, a reality without any effort. That is called Samma Samadhi. Once someone complete these eight steps, he will have Samma Jnana and Samma Vimukti. He will have his own wisdom, his own understanding about the world, his own detachment. He looks the world as a mirage. Maybe he can't explain it, but always he feels all experiences and all the world as a mirage. as useless. With that Sammajnana, he will achieve Samma Vimukti, called Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant. That means, first of all, he understands. Once he experiences little time, at least 1-2 seconds, the stilling of all preparations. Now he knows that that is Nibbana, this is the path to achieve it. And he's called the Sotapanna person. Then again and again, he starts to being deprogrammed. So then his lust and hatred, his cravings and hatred reduced up to 50%. It is called Sakadagami. When he maintained, practiced the concentration, the vipassana, and being a watchful, being a watcher, the power of observing, his lust and hatred completely faded away. Then we called him as an anagami person. Finally, he will reduce the feeling about I am. The feeling, the thought of I am. Then once it faded away completely, he achieved the arahantship. That is the whole path. It is in this very moment. The Nibbana is not a thing that we have to practice and practice and practice and achieve it some day in the future. Nibbana is a thing which we can find out in this very moment, in this very second, by being watchful, being an observer, being mindful to your body, sensations, thoughts, and subtle mental states. So I bless you all to achieve the Nibbana in this very life as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, Bhante. Very well explained, Bhante. कोणाचे काही प्रश्न असतील तर विचारू शकता. Can you take questions, Bhante?
Yeah.
Unmute करा.
Welcome, Bhante.
Yeah.
Namo Buddhaya Sarji. My first question is that what is the first kind of vipassana?
Sorry.
What is the first kind of vipassana?
Purpose of vipassana.
Vedanupassana, Citta-Viveka, Dhamma. But first, which is?
You ask about purpose.
Okay.
Purpose. What she asked?
तुम्हाला काय विचारायचं आहे?
म्हणजे याच्यामध्ये पहिले त्यांनी सांगितलं वेदानुपासना, चित्तानुपासना, धम्मानुपासना याचा पहिला प्रकार कोणता होता मुख्य?
कोणी केला?
नाही, मी विचारलं सर. भट्टीजीने सांगितलं वेदानुपासना, चित्तानुपासना.
She is asking, is there any sequence for this Citta-Viveka, Dhamma-Nupassana? We have to do first this and then this.
Oh, we have to start with the Kaya-Nupassana. We just can start with being a watcher to our body and our postures. Once our hand is moving, when the head is moving, We can be a watcher, we can be a third person to our postures. What we're doing is we gather our mindfulness, we gather our awareness to our body without getting him to go outside, without giving him a chance to go another experiences. We are gathering our awareness to our posture. That is the starting. Understood?
Okay. Okay, Bhante.
Are there any
आणखीन
questions?
ओके, आणखीन आहे का कोणाचा प्रश्न? No, Bhante. You can give blessings.
Okay. We can transfer the merits to the gods and our past relatives. Akha sattha chabhumattha deva naga mahidikha punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sambuddha sasanang. Akha sattha chabhumattha deva naga mahidikha punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sambuddha desanang. Akha sattha chabhumattha deva naga mahidikha punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sambuddha savakam. Idang me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā huntu ñātayo. Idang me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā huntu ñātayo. Idang me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā huntu ñātayo. And I will bless you all to be happy, healthy, and have a peaceful, long life with the blessings of noble triple gems. Sabbi tiyo vivachantu, sabba rogo vinasatu, mate bhavatvantarayo, sukhi digayuko bhava, bhavatu sabba mangalang, rakhantu sabba devata, sabba buddhanubhavena, sabba dhammanubhavena, sabba sanghanubhavena, sada sutti bhavantu te, sukhi hotu, digayuko hotu, nibbana sapacho hotu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you once again, Bhante.
Yeah. May I leave?
Yes, Bhante. Sure, sure.
Yeah.
ठीक आहे, आताचं सेशन इथेच संपत आहे. एंड करत आहे सेशन.